The childhood of today is the manhood of tomorrow. A quote by William Wordsworth. It's no secret that children are the future, and the children in these days are growing up way too fast. The things that you see young are the things that you often reenact as an adult. What is the leading cause of youth violence today? Can we really blame one thing? Is it the rap music? Is it the surroundings they grew up in? It's a debate that will forever go on. But one thing that's not up for debate is the feeling that it leaves behind. It's truly a heartbreaking situation. I guess the question at hand now is, how do you stop it? Or has it simply gone too far? Located roughly 3 hours away from the capital of Tennessee is a city called Knoxville. This piece of land, situated on the Tennessee River in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, has been dubbed one of the best places to live in the state of Tennessee. The city of Knoxville is known for a few things, such as being the home of HGTV, a cable network dedicated to homes and gardens. But what it's most known for is the University of Tennessee, an illustrious school known for breeding pro ball players, such as two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning. However, outside of those accomplishments, it also has a dark side. Recently, the city of Knoxville has been known for its increase in crime. November 17th, 2005. The world would make way for Janariah Muhammad. She would be born to parents Lawrence and Jacqueline Muhammad, and she would have her upbringing in Knoxville, Tennessee. Janariah would be born into a big family, having 8 other siblings. Having a big family taught Janariah a lot, such as the importance of family. From early on, Janariah is described as someone who always had a smile on her face. She was energetic. She had a great personality. She's also described as someone who was giving, someone who would provide the shirt off of her back for someone in need. Like most girls around her age, she enjoyed singing, listening to music, hanging out with friends and family. But the love of her life would just so happen to be dancing. She would discover dancing at a young age. She would begin her education in the public city schools of Knoxville, attending elementary, and then she would move on to Vine Middle School, before ultimately landing as a freshman at Austin East High School. Teachers described Janariah as well-behaved, a student who was eager to learn. By the time she started high school, she had even picked up a few more hobbies. She became athletic. She played volleyball and even basketball. But although Janariah had a couple of more hobbies, dance was still top priority on her list. She would join the Pearls dance team, a local dance team located in Knoxville, where she would not only dance, but she would help teach others around her to be better. By the beginning of the year of 2021, Janariah would be 15 years old. She was a well-rounded student. She had a great attitude, and she had dreams. Someone who was definitely aiming for the stars. But sadly, by February of 2016, something would transpire that would change the entire family. But not only would it affect her family, it would affect the entire town. February 16th, 2021. At approximately 7:40 p.m., the local authorities would be dispatched to the corner of Selma Avenue and Cherry Street. This location is where Janariah lived. When the authorities arrived on the scene, they would find a young victim suffering from gunshot wounds, where she would immediately be rushed to the hospital. While en route to the hospital, Janariah would be unconscious, and there would be repeated attempts to resuscitate her. However, those attempts would fail, and shortly after arriving to the hospital, she would be pronounced deceased.
This morning, another teenager is dead following a shooting in East Knoxville. Police say it happened near the intersection of Cherry Street and Selma Avenue.
Her name was Janariah Muhammad and was a freshman at Austin East High School. Her death marks the third Austin East student that's been killed in the last month. Police say Muhammad died at the hospital from at least one gunshot wound. KPD released a statement Tuesday night saying, "Now more than ever, we need to band together as a community. These senseless acts of violence cannot and should not be tolerated under any circumstance." Muhammad's family also says that she was a beautiful and active girl. They say she played volleyball and danced, and that she will surely be missed.
An autopsy would reveal that she had succumbed to 2 gunshot wounds. But even worse, after working the crime scene, the authorities found little to no evidence. The reason for the lack of evidence is because the authorities would determine that this was in fact a drive-by shooting, and with little to no evidence to go off of, the police had a hard time ahead of them. The days of the passing of Janariah Muhammad would begin to turn into weeks, and then those weeks would slowly begin to fade into months. With time steadily passing and no one being incarcerated for the crime, the family began to worry, and they would turn to the media in hopes for a better outcome.
5 months since their little girl was tragically killed.
Hard. Real hard. It's hard on me emotionally.
It has just been very stressful at the same time, very emotional, very overwhelming at the same time.
Not forgetting the little things that Janariah did that made them smile.
Her coming in, getting dressed, a challenge getting to the bathroom.
Since that day, Jackie and Larry have chosen to play an active role in helping curb the gun violence problem in the city, leading the kids in marches to take their city back. The one thing that hasn't changed, the person or people responsible for Muhammad's death have not been accounted for. Jackie says she will rely on her faith and emphasizes this is justice not just for Nana, but for all.
Throughout the investigation, authorities would claim to have received over 100 tips. Although tips came in, no one was being charged with the crime. The only thing that the authorities know at this point is that a drive-by shooting occurred and the culprits drove off in a blacked-out vehicle. Although the authorities were lacking in physical evidence, there were things occurring that hinted towards the fact that this may have been retaliation. In the year of 2021, when Janariah lost her life, she happened to be one of a handful of students who had succumbed to these circumstances. January 14th, 2021. 17-year-old John Mathis and an unidentified female would be struck by gunfire. Luckily in this situation, both would survive this altercation. After the shooting occurred, the authorities didn't have the names of the suspects. They simply knew that 3 men were in a vehicle when this transpired. Though the authorities didn't have names at this time, these same 3 gentlemen would be involved in other situations, which would eventually disclose their information. Days before Janariah Muhammad passed, on February 7th of 2021, 3 males would be inside of a dark blue vehicle. They would be DeAndre Davis, then 16 years old, Rashawn Jordan, then 14 years old, and another unnamed male. Due to the unidentified male's age, at that time, They hadn't released his name. On this day, the three males would be involved in another shooting. They would shoot at a 41-year-old man and an unidentified child. On this day, Grace was with them because they would survive the altercation. Days later, February 12th, 2021, the same three young males would be involved in yet another shooting. On this day, 16-year-old Stanley Freeman Jr. would be leaving Austin East Magnet High School. But while leaving, he would be struck by one round before ultimately crashing his vehicle on Wilson Avenue. When the first responders arrived on the scene, they found Freeman unresponsive, where he was taken to the hospital. But shortly after arriving at the hospital, he would be pronounced deceased. After the shooting, the authorities would work vigorously to find the culprits. And that's when DeAndre Davis, Rashawn Jordan, and the unidentified young male would be taken into custody. Although the authorities did not release the name of the third suspect, in the report it details that the unidentified minor was the boyfriend of Janariah Muhammad. Just days after 16-year-old Stanley Freeman lost his life, Janariah Muhammad would also fall to these circumstances. With the details surrounding the situation, it's most likely that she was caught in the middle of a gang war that was going on between the youth at Austin East High School. Although at this point the authorities can't pinpoint an actual culprit, one thing is for certain: Janariah Muhammad was a target. In the days leading up to the incident, Janariah Muhammad's home would be shot at least 3 separate times. February 16th of 2021 would be the 4th attempt at her life. And sadly, that would be the final. This time, they succeeded. And 15-year-old Janariah Muhammad would lose her life. But even more devastating, that wasn't the end of the violence. On August 8th of 2021, 17-year-old John Mathis, the same guy who survived the altercation on January 14th, would ultimately lose his life on this day due to yet another act of violence. The year of 2021 proved to be a rough year for the students at Austin East Magnet High School. And even worse, a couple of the cases are still unsolved. Cases like 15-year-old Janariah Muhammad. In the reports of Janariah, it listed her boyfriend as unnamed and only hinted to him being a suspect in the other shootings. However, in the days after, his name would be released. The unidentified minor is now identified as Ahmad Gatlin. In some of the tips received, they claimed that this was a retaliation. Retaliation for the shootings that her boyfriend did. We all know in these circumstances that in some cases, if they can't find you, they'll find someone you love. And in this case, that might have been Janariah. I want to specify that that is a tip, a mere opinion, a theory as to what happened, a theory that still hasn't been proven to be factual. In other tips received, they said that Janariah's death had something to do with drugs. The people around Janariah strongly disagree with this theory because she wasn't caught up in that life. She was a bright student, a girl who was going places. And in the end, with her case being unsolved, she just became another crime statistic of the year of 2021 in the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. The childhood of today is the manhood of tomorrow.
It could just as easily been your friend, your sister, your brother, your auntie, uncle, mama, anybody, and you will want justice, just like I want justice.
It's no secret that children are the future, and the children in these days are growing up way too fast.
This morning we're hearing from the family of the third Austin East student to die in 3 weeks. Janariah Muhammad was shot and killed Tuesday near Cherry Street. Her family talked at a community event saying she was a dancer, volleyball and basketball player, and an involved student. And for her 9-year-old sister, Janariah was a role model.
She was always nice to everybody, and it's just sad that I had to lose her yesterday. She didn't deserve to be dead.
What is the leading cause of youth violence today? Can we really blame one thing? Is it the rap music? Is it the surroundings they grew up in? It's a debate that will forever go on. But one thing that's not up for debate is the feeling that it leaves behind. It's truly a heartbreaking situation. I guess the question at hand now is, how do you stop it? Or has it simply gone too far?
We have to stop killing in these streets. And there's some people who know who's doing it. Some people's kids, we're tired. Today is the end of it. We are working together. These people standing behind us, we might be mad, we hurting, but we need everybody standing together. Everybody out here today standing together.
This incident happened in the year of 2021, and we are now in the year of 2024, and there has still been no arrest made in connection to what happened. The family of Janariah Muhammad is still fighting for justice.
The FBI and the Tennessee law enforcement community is committed to working closely with Knoxville Police Department to make sure those bringing violence to our streets are held accountable. This reward is just one of the many tools that we will utilize in partnership with Knoxville Police Department to protect our citizens. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Eve Thomas from the Knoxville Police Department.
As I stand here today, we are 18 days removed from the tragic shooting death of 16-year-old Stanley Freeman Jr. and 14 days removed from the senseless death of 15-year-old Janariah Muhammad. At this point, no suspects have been arrested or charged for their involvement in these shootings. Investigators are continuing to work diligently and persistently to bring those cases to a successful resolution. I can assure you that we are making steady progress on those cases, though we remain at a point where we do not have any new details to announce. That being said, we still need information from those who have it. We need anybody with any information to come forward, no matter how insignificant that information might seem. The information could very well be the final piece that puts the puzzle together. Specifically, we need anybody who witnessed either shooting or has firsthand knowledge of either event to step forward and do the right thing. At this stage, we still have not had anybody willingly come forward to volunteer information to investigators regarding either case. We need those with information to summon the courage to come forward. Those with information can contact us through numerous avenues. You can call the KPD's Crime and Drug Hotline at 865-215-7212.
If you have any information in regards to the case of 15-year-old Janariah, please come forward to the Knoxville authorities and relay the information that you know. There is a $5,000 reward in any information that leads to an arrest. Again, if you have any information about this case, please contact the Knoxville, Tennessee Police Department. What happened to 15-year-old Janariah Muhammad is truly heartbreaking. To lose her life at a young age, someone who had dreams, someone who hadn't even begun to live, but to add insult to injury, the family still hasn't received justice. Rest in peace, Janariah Muhammad. Thank you for being a light for others. I truly hope you receive the justice that you deserve.